This clay tutorial will walk you through step-by-step how to make a pinch pot. A pinch pot is one of the most basic and fundamental ways to work with clay, and it is a foundational skill for anyone that wants to work with clay and create pottery. You can make a pinch pot out of any type of clay. I'm using Amico's kiln-fired clay, but you can do it with air-dry clay, Play-Doh, homemade clay. The sky's the limit. If you love learning about art, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an art tutorial. You want to start with a clean workstation, and I prefer to work on top a piece of canvas. I'm going to use a really small piece of clay because my pinch pot today is going to fit in the palm of my hand. So I'm also taking off my jewelry, my hairband, but not my Fitbit because I want every step to count. And the first step is to look at your clay for air pockets. There may be air pockets in the inside, so you are going to wedge your clay, and this gets out all air pockets and make sure you have one consistent piece of clay to work with. Be careful not to overwork it. Do this maybe 5 times max so it doesn't dry out. Your second step is to form a sphere, and it's gonna look like a giant meatball. And I'm not rolling it around on the table for perfection because I don't want to have extra cleanup. I'm just using my hands to form the sphere. Now, give your sphere a thumbs up and press into your clay. You want your thumb to disappear until you reach your knuckle. Now, every piece of clay is going to be slightly different size, but don't go all the way through. Now, you are going to pinch and turn, pinch and turn, pinch and turn, pinch and turn. And yes, I meant to say it that many times. If we were in kindergarten, we might say, "Good job, sweetheart, you're all done." But we are going for a solid base using a pinch pot. So for example, this finished work of pottery, the pinch pot was the base. So there's the bottom, and it goes up maybe like 1 inch, 2 inches, and the rest was finished with coil building. If you're interested in that technique or how to make a face jug, click the link above. So this is the edge of our pinch pot, and although it doesn't have to be perfect, since I will be adding more coils to this, if you are just doing a pinch pot, you want to spend your time smoothing and making it look perfect. So smoothing is always a good idea when it comes to clay, because clay can be kind of, I don't want to say ugly, I want to say rough around the edges if you don't do anything to its surface. Clay has a memory, so if you push it in one direction, it will stay there. If you draw or carve into it, it will hold that impression. So with the pinch pot, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect if you're using it for a base for something else, but smoothing it to make it have a really consistent visual effect is just a great way to show craftsmanship with your pottery. So notice I'm holding it in my hands and I'm not changing the shape of it. So you don't want to push so hard that it changes the shape. You just want to smooth out the surface area, not the actual form of the pinch pot itself. So one thing you want to keep in mind is you want the walls of your pinch pot or the sides to not be too thin, and you also don't want them too thick. So this is a good opportunity to check your work and make sure it's very consistent. I'm using my finger to blend and smooth so it's nice and even, and you could spend a long time obsessively smoothing your pinch pot. The key for using a pinch pot as a base is that it's consistent and it's even, because it's going to be the structure that holds up something else. If you're just doing a pinch pot, take your time to smooth it and make it perfect, because this is the final product. And so if you're giving this as a gift or you're using it to, hold jewelry or whatever, you want it to be a really pleasing shape. Storage is important. Store it in an airtight bag or container if you're going to be working on this again. I'm just using a grocery bag that I have lying around. I'm twisting it and folding it under so that as little air as possible gets in it. Now that you know how to make a good pinch pot, let's talk about some pinch pot struggles. So if you pull instead of pinching and turning, and you pull the clay, it's going to look like a sad flower, and your clay is going to be too weak to hold a form. So be very careful with tugging on your clay and making it too thin. If at first you don't succeed, ball it up and try again. Same with not going down all the way. If you just randomly start pinching and turning and you don't make a really nice bowl shape, it's going to look like a sad dead flower. Another thing that doesn't happen as much, but sometimes you might go all the way through. And so a pinch pot should be even, not too thick, not too thin. It should have a really nice smooth surface. And as you touch, and I know you can't touch through a YouTube video, but your clay should not feel flimsy or too thin. It should feel about the width of your pinky at least, with a really solid edge. Now you may notice that your hands are really dry after working with clay. Look how little lotion you need to get on your hands. So I like to always wash my hands with soap and water, hashtag 2020, and a little bit of lotion goes a long way in making your hands not feel dry and cracked after working with clay. Remember, your hands are absorbing all of the moisture in your clay, and so you want to take care of them by applying lotion and washing your hands with soap and water. So there it is, how to make a pinch pot. And if this is your first time making it, it's okay if you struggle a little bit. It's not the same watching as it is doing. So get used to it. And once you make one pinch pot, you can totally make 100 so much easier. Thanks for sticking around and making art with me. And if you're interested in more pottery and clay tutorials, check these out.